and a local doctor to give a lecture, and after he's done, you may not be able to sit down. And we're going to kick things off with a coach who's gone further than he's ever gone before. With me right now, Bernard Nichter from Paraclete, the head boys basketball coach. Welcome, Bernard. It's great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you.
All right, I want you to tell us a story about Paraclete's basketball program this year, because it has definitely gone further than it's ever gone before.
Yes, I got to Paraclete 2 years ago, and we weren't very successful at my first year there. I was the assistant coach for Skip Adams, and we only ended up winning 5 games that year. And when Skip Adams left, I was lucky enough to get the varsity job. And since then, last year we improved our first winning record in 11 years, and this year we were 22-8. We went to the semifinals of CIF and went to the state playoffs, and got our first win in school history in the state playoffs. And I can't tell you how exciting the whole season was.
Well, it really was exciting. You know what? Let's start, and also to throw in there, you hit your 200th win as a head coach.
Yes. SCIPCA, Coaches Association for Southern California, honored me with my 200th win. And so I got a nice plaque that I have hanging in my room. It was kind of exciting.
When you're at 199, how long did it take to get to the 200?
Well, I knew I was going to get to 200 this year before the season started. But once the season started, you're so into the season that you don't worry about that kind of stuff. So it was kind of weird. Andy Gavel, my assistant coach, went down to for the CIF playoff brackets, and he ended up getting my award, for the 200th win. So I couldn't even tell you what game I hit it. I just knew that I was going to get it this year.
Very good. Let's go to the state, because you have a victory in the state playoffs,
Yes.
which is something that the school has not done ever before. And you get to do that on your home court. Mm-hmm. So what was that like? Because when you found out you were going to the state playoffs, basically your season had ended. You'd lost in the semifinal game to, Bishop?
Alamany.
Alamany. And the season was over, and then I think some of the players started playing volleyball.
Yeah, we basically, after the Alamany game, it basically, said our goodbyes, and thought our season was over. The only person that thought we were still playing was Mike Van Kirk. He said, no, we're going to make the state playoffs. And of course, nobody believed him, because, usually it's just the finalists and the semifinalists that make the state playoffs. But with the realigning of the CIF divisions, they put so many more teams in each division that they bumped it up to, instead of the normal 4 teams, to 8 teams. So we made it, and not only that, but we won a game, and it was exciting.
Now, you went down to San Diego,
Yes.
and you played down there. You were up at halftime.
Up by 2.
And then,
Well, a weird thing happened. We were in our zone, and I've watched the film now probably about 20 times. It's been tough to let it go, because we had an opportunity to win the game, and we were in our zone, and I was telling Mike on the drive over here, Mike was going out to cover their shooter, and was disrupting his shot in the first half. The guy couldn't hit anything with Mike closing out on him, because he was having to shoot the ball over him. Then their coach made a good adjustment. He started moving their shooter around, and he got hot, because he no longer had to shoot over our 7-footer, and that ended up being the difference in the game. That little adjustment by the coach.
Now, later on in the show, we're going to meet Mike. Actually, we had to put him in 2 segments. He's so tall that we could get the one part in and then get him in the other part. And but you're going to have a 7'1" center again next year.
I know. I'm excited. Mike, I can't tell you how much he's improved. I've waited, and I've known Mike since he was a freshman, and I've been waiting for the moment where he was going to be to the point he is now, which will be our best player, and be a dominant presence and a dominant force in California.
Now, one of your players made All-CIF. We're going to meet him later too.
Yes, and that's Wesley McCurtis, who I can't say enough about. And usually, what ends up happening is your best player. There tends to be a sense of complacency with them, because they know that they're the best player. They know they're going to play, and Wes is probably the hardest working best player I've ever had. I mean, every practice, every moment, every second practice in the game, he is the hardest working kid on the floor. And this is the first year that I can ever remember where every coach that we ever played, always after the game, always complimented our kids on how hard they worked. And I think that's a testament to Wes.
What's it like being a head coach and you know that next season you're going to have a real good basketball player who happens to be 7'1"? What is that like for you?
It's a lot more relaxing, actually. You know, this year is actually probably one of the few years in coaching where I haven't really been stressed out before games because I was confident in our basketball team. And next year will be the same way. I'm going to be confident in our players and in our basketball team. So going into games, I'll feel that we should win most of the games that we play.
Walking away from this season, what are you going to remember most?
You know, the weird thing about this season is we've hit a number of game-winning shots, and we went to Canyon tournament, and our first 2 games in the Canyon tournament, we pulled 2 games at the final buzzer, and I mean, we hit shots with no time left on the clock to win the games, and those were probably 2 of the most memorable parts of our season because we just went crazy, and then of course. I'll always remember winning the game to take us into the semifinals of CIF, because that's the farthest I've ever been, and my parents were there, and that was special to be able to share that with my mom and my dad.
I want to congratulate you on an awesome season, Coach, and the great character your team plays with. They were a pleasure, and they were fun to cover. We had a good time covering them.
I really do I've been lucky. I really have a great group of kids. I've never coached a group of kids that has so many future doctors on it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we win all CIF for GPA as well, which I'm sure we will win.
That's quite an accomplishment. That's amazing. Bernard Nichter, thank you very much. Head coach, boys basketball, Paraclete. When we come back, we're going to have a chat with the doctor. Maybe you can do a little exam. Wait till you see this. You don't want to miss it. It's coming up next.